Hello, this is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins, here to do another question and answers video for you this week. My sweet wife Ingrid is running the camera for us today. And let's get started. One of the things that we talked about last week was, does anybody have any ideas that they could let us know why not silver and gold?
Yeah.
And we didn't get anybody to respond, so I'm still going to leave it out there if anybody wants to put it in the comments. One of the arguments that I did hear this week was from a big financial investor, and we'll put the link in the comments for what he said, but I'm just going to walk you through it and then you can listen to the link. And we're also going to put a link to a movie that I watched, cute little 30s, late 30s movie talking about finance, and you'll enjoy that, little movie to watch. And you can respond in the comments on that also. But the first part of his response was that you can go all the way back to the birth of Christ and your efforts are still the same. They're still equals the same as it does today, maybe 0.1% difference. And I argue that that's one of the big pluses to gold and silver, that it doesn't change. You don't have to go back just 2,000 years, you can go back 6,000 years. And a day's labor is worth a day's salary, or gold and silver, your energy, your effort is stored. Because if a guy goes out and digs silver in the ground, and another person goes out and pans gold, and another person raises wheat and grinds it and makes bread, and another person has a dairy cow and milks it, they all come into town and they trade equally. That's why gold and silver are equal and have always stayed the same. It's because they store your energy and your effort and your time, because they don't rot and they don't decay. So that's my counter to his first part. The second part is that having a yield or an income, and his point is, put your money into a farm that's going to produce for you some income, some revenue by growing the wheat or the dairy cow or whatever. And my counter to that would be to open a coin business. There you go, open a coin business. And if you've got 50,000 or 100,000 invested in gold and silver, you can turn around and you can just flip and rotate that and exchange it and grow the business and have the opportunity to do it that way. That was some of the one of the comments that I heard, and we answered it that way. Last time we talked a little bit about growing your own business. And I think you can do it as small as you want or as big as you want. And I have, here it is. I got out this pan I wanted to show you. It doesn't take much to buy a pan and go down to the river and pan for gold yourself. And it'll teach you an important lesson, because you go down there and you pan enough gold and you live off of that gold for that day and see how you do. You'll find out that we're robbing from the future to give us the prosperity that we have right now. And if we go back to an honest day's work to equal an honest day's food, one way that you can find out what reality is to spend the day panning for gold and then purchase enough food according to that. That goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, where all the way back to Jesus Christ, or back 6,000 years, it hasn't changed. And what we're doing right now to throw in the variable of change is we're robbing from the future. We're taking our labor from the future and making things comfortable and easy now. But if we go back to actual, what you do for one day is what you eat and what you live off of for one day, you'll find that you're not able to rob from the future. Your work equals your food. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of a lot to tie together.
There really is.
I'm tying together how you're going all the way back 6,000 years, and your labor and your effort equals what you pan for. It's always been the same. 6,000 years of panning down by the river is the same today. The only thing that's changed is we're robbing from the future. So this financial advisor is saying, stay in these hedge funds or in these dividend stocks and all of that. Well, the price per earnings and all that are so out of whack, they have to rob from the future. to be able to give you that dividend in order to be profitable. And that's going to fail. That's going to fail. The dollar and robbing from the future can't go on forever. You know, the United States is $100 trillion in debt if you add up everything. The 35 trillion federal debt, the personal credit card debt, the municipalities, their debt. That doesn't even count unfunded liabilities. They're like $250 trillion worth of entitlement debt. So mathematically, it doesn't work out. Eventually, the dollar is going to collapse along with the stock market and anything that's in the dollar.
So you're saying, basically, let me put it down. When you pan for gold down to the river, pan, and say, if you don't make anything that day, you don't eat.
Exactly. And really, when you can pan all day and really only get just a few flakes in the bottom of here, which may be $2 or $3 at the most, you know, in your pan after panning all day.
Right.
And then you go out and try to buy yourself something to eat. You know, it's not, the math doesn't work out. But that's that equal labor, equal effort, equal food. The person who's producing the food, they want to be paid for their effort and their time. They're struggling just as hard to gather the milk, to gather the wheat, to grind it, to produce the meal. That's a struggle and difficult. And so in order to make it even, you go down to the river and you pan, and then it's even. But see, right now we're robbing from the future, where I don't have to work as hard down by the river, and I don't have to work as hard on the food. And those things are out of whack, which makes it seem like, oh, invest in these stocks, and the dividend and the yield is going to give you a return on the dollar. But it's only because we're inflating the dollar that you're getting a return.
Okay.
And eventually that ends when you have $100 trillion in debt and $250 trillion in entitlements. You can't keep doing that. You can't keep go on and on doing that.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I was going to talk about one other thing here. It's amazing how my mind can pause it for a second. Yeah. One of the other questions that we get a lot is, why, if we believe in gold and silver so much, why do we sell it? Yeah. And I describe it like this. You've got a restaurant owner, let's say, and he produces this fine meal, you know, lobster and steak and wine, and you eat it and you get all done. You push back from the table and you say, why would you serve me such a fine meal and let me pay you for it? Why wouldn't you eat it yourself? Well, the restaurant owner is working and he's producing and providing a service so that he can eat well. And it's the same principle with us. We buy and sell, and we work, and we save some of what we've earned, and we put it in gold and silver, just like we're advising everybody else to do. As insurance, you know, we're not financial advisors. We're just giving our opinion and trying to educate people. Main thing is to educate you so that you can learn how to do this. You can't rely on other people telling you what to do.
And not be afraid to start small, because that's, the Lord doesn't, He said not to despise small beginnings. The way we didn't have 50, 100,000, you know, put in and go buy a coin business. We started
real small.
Very small.
Well, that's like I'm talking about with this pan.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about businesses last week and how you can, instead of investing in the stock market, you can invest in a business.
Right.
We'll start out small. Start out small, investing in a business to find out what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And go out and pan. Just buy yourself a pan. When we started this coin business, our rent was $75 a month. Yeah. That's how small we started.
It was a little cabinet.
Just a little cabinet hanging on the wall in an antique shop, you know, and I sat on the steps beside the cabinet, and if somebody came by and wanted to talk to me about coins, gold, silver, the stock market, dollar, whatever, I'd sit there and talk with them. And that's kind of where I got the skill to spiel it off, all these different things that I talk about, and to try to share with people and educate people, because ultimately we're not financial advisors. We're just trying to educate people and on that. Same with starting a small business. You say, oh, I don't want to invest in the stock market. I want to own the business. Well, start somebody out with a pan. Buy them a pan. Say, hey, go pan all day and see how you do. and you can go to certain places that are better for panning, but and some that are not so good. You can pan in your driveway if you want to learn how to do it. And even sand from Home Depot has gold in it. You can pan that. You're not going to get enough to live off of.
No.
You need to perfect the skill. You know, you're going to go down, you're going to fail for a while, but you need to have the, to get that skill up and running.
Right.
And that can be with anything. I'm using the pan as an example for how small you can start a business and how difficult it is to pan the energy, the labor, and the time to equal what you're going to eat for that day.
Right. Don't quit your day job.
Don't quit your day job. And this, it took us years to get our $75 rent up to a running, functioning business with a lot of investment, a lot of time. And so start out small. Start out small with somebody. You say, hey, I want to build a company that I own 100%. We'll find somebody, start out small, see if they're responsible and diligent in starting out small, and grow with them. And just learn as you go along.
Right.
The meal was just an example for knowing that what we believe in it. Why do you sell it? Well, we're buying and selling it, and we're giving free educational advice on insurance. We call it insurance, not investment, to protect yourself against what we firmly believe is coming. And we believe it so firmly that we've spent a lot of time and money building a farm and working on that farm day and night to be prepared. And that brings up another real quick point before we close is it's a big difference between being prepared and being a hoarder.
Yeah.
When things go wrong, like they've gone wrong here recently in North Carolina and Florida, you see a lot of hoarders, a lot of people don't have gas, they don't have this, they don't have that. And when you could just spend a little tiny bit extra.
Panic buying.
A lot of panic buying, and then you get into that overcorrection thing. What do you mean there's no toilet paper? And you find out there's no toilet paper, there's no water, and then you pay whatever you have to get gas or get water or get toilet paper or get milk and bread. Where if you can, just learn to can. You can buy a canner at a yard sale, a cheap small canner, and just start canning little things. And then it's on the shelf rather than in the freezer. And you can just take it off the shelf, put it over a little fire. That's our drive-through, fast food. Our drive-through. We just take it off the pantry shelf. Power goes out, it's no problem. It's on the shelf, and you'll have that skill to can. Just can a little bit on Sunday.
I was real fearful to start canning.
Now you do it with no problem.
Yeah, I didn't even like it at first.
Yeah.
I think because when my first experience of canning was when we were down in Georgia, and you'd grown all of these tomatoes. And back then, we canned them differently, and we had to do this huge, we boiled them, get the skin off.
Yes.
We don't do that so much anymore, it's so different. But
we did pick the hardest product at first.
I will never can again in my life.
Now we've got it down to a science. We store the canner in a particular closet. We store everything in a particular place. We can get it out, get it up and running, and put it away. We've got it down to a science. Well, it's the same with the panning. Same with starting any company. You might go out and fail and think this is terrible. It's never going to work. But you get better, and you learn the secrets and the tricks and the techniques, and you get faster at it. And if you have that skill and that technique, it doesn't have to be panning down by the river. I'm using this as a small example. Last time I used log splitting. You buy a $2,000 log splitter, and you can go out and split firewood and stack it. That's another example. And somewhere between $2 and $2,000, pick a place or $75 rent for a coin shop. Start yourself a small coin shop. That way your gold and silver can be making. You might only open it for one day a week or whatever, and just get it started.
We're saying do something to inflation to insure yourself against inflation. Make yourself relevant and prepare for that because it's coming.
Yes.
And so you want to have a business or something you're doing that will survive in that kind of environment and where you could be a blessing to other people.
That's the biggest thing. We've always said, we kind of always thought of it as the children, getting prepared to be able to rescue children, for if there was a collapse or a hurricane or a flood or a snowstorm or whatever, we'd be able to help people, either way. We want to be able to be there and help them. And we're also honing those skills on both sides of the economy. We're making money both sides of the economy. And we're educating people. And even if you don't use, you never need your prepping skills. You've learned to be diversified and fluid in your finances.
It's like that's what I was trying to think of, an inflation-proof business.
Yes.
A skill that will be needed
in the
no
future.
Matter what. Yeah.
It could be Bibles. It could be getting and buying and selling Bibles. It could be trading, learning how to trade. you know, in silver, learning how to, that $1.40 is 1 full ounce, and being able to look at how much something costs and being able to do the math in your head. You know, if you can do that and have that skill, that's another one right there.
That's so true. That's good, baby.
Well, good stuff. I hope we've been clear. I threw a lot of stuff kind of all spaghettied together there.
Yeah.
But if anybody has any questions, let us know. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.